This gathering here at Rock Falls Airport has been extraordinary. The airplanes have personalities themselves. They've been flying for up to 75 years and have seen action all over the world in many different capacities. That's just extraordinary. But what I'm really struck by are the pilots and the community here. The community turned out in force, the volunteers. All this stuff cost nothing except $5 to park. Where do you get to go to an air show to do that and see all these planes and have access on the ramp? It's just extraordinary. And to have such a huge gathering supported by a volunteer effort is, almost unheard of these days. We'll never see this again.
We have talked about this for a long time, to have 20, 30, 35 DC-3s at one spot, and I've known that this was going to happen, and you see the layout of the airport. But when you look back and you see all of those DC-3s that are just, and the ugliest one out there is so beautiful, and words in the English language I really don't have that can describe it. It's absolutely awesome. It's a beautiful experience, and the people are in awe. It's been a really fun experience, and we just appreciate you guys being here too.
Freedom through performance. At Cirrus, performance is not simply the measurement of a single design parameter. Rather, it's a total package. It's optimum balance of speed, efficiency, comfort, safety, ease of flight, and quality. We call it Cirrus Flying 2.0. Aren't you ready to feel the freedom?
I've actually made some new friends in the process here. Several of the airplanes that I've gotten to know the guys. It really helped me a lot towards getting our airplane here, which made a lot of difference. And it's just good to see this many DC-3s in one spot. And it's one of the greatest things is to see the local folks come out and have a great time and just see this many airplanes. This is a historic event because it'll probably go down in history as the last biggest. It's the last time. That means something. This is probably the last time you will ever see this many DC-3 C-47s together in one spot, most likely, I would guess. If you look at what the airplane is for the time in which it was built and the fact that it is still, 1935, this many years later, it's still an awesome airplane. I mean, it's still an airframe that you can do something with.
As a former employee of an aeronautical engineer, I can honestly say that back in the days when they were designing airplanes of this era, they had no computers to tell them how thin to make the metal so they could come up with a lightweight finished product with less cost involved. When they built the airplane, the engineers calculated the dimensions of the various structural parts of the airplane, and they said, well, we got to go a little further. So every part is overbuilt. That's one of the main reasons it's lasted. Then it had engines from Pratt & Whitney, which is probably the premier engine maker of reciprocating aircraft piston engines, in the world. And the airplane was built to be easy to work on by the soldiers out of the field in all kinds of weather. And it is just held together, just like the Model A Ford.
There's just something about flying the airplane that gives you a sense of security. And the sound of it adds to that. As two powerful radials. Our airplane has 2,750 horsepower. The sound of the engine is very, very unique, particularly the 14-cylinder radials. The technology was like mid-30s, early 30s technology. It's just a good throaty sound that makes you want to go fly it again.
If you own a Cirrus today, or if you are considering the purchase of a new or used aircraft, consider this. Avidyne, in conjunction with the country's leading Cirrus sales and maintenance facilities, has launched the G3R9 program that combines the purchase of a late-model, low-time Cirrus aircraft and the addition of the Avidyne Integra Release 9 avionics suite for much less than you may have thought, and certainly much less than purchasing a brand new aircraft. G3R9, combining the best airframe, best engine, and best avionics for the best value.
The radial engine has a very particular sound because the pistons don't all fire at the same number of degrees going around the circle inside the engine because of the way the master connecting rod and the link rods are laid out. And it makes a beautiful, wavy, soothing to the human mind and body sound. And then the sound it makes when it's starting up, the coughing, the spluttering, the starting, the belching of the smoke, it's all a man thing. It's just really neat, like a Harley. The maintenance that's required is quite stringent. You need to keep up with the maintenance as long as you don't let anything get behind were broken or bent or something, it flies the same as it did when it was new.
I know this is almost a perfect airplane, this DC-3. I just can't imagine an airplane 70 years, for heaven's sake, and they're still flying them. And it just amazes me that a group of airplanes like the DC-4, the DC-3, and that bomber that Douglas made, his airplanes are so magnificent and so good and reliable. And they were always reliable airplanes.